If you look at everyone around you, it's not looking too good. So how do you get the opposite of your environment? That's essentially what I'll show you today, as well as how I went about it, especially financially, because everyone I see around me, either at school or just wherever, it's like they want to set themselves up to work some dead-end, low-income job for the rest of their lives, because all they want to do is think in the moment. And the two things that did it for me was a plan, as well as a change of how I view things. And you won't make a good plan if you don't know the right things. And the first thing that I did was I just started experimenting with whatever could make me money. The first thing I did to get money was not a job, was not working for anyone, was not doing anything like that. I did crypto. But to be fair, I did pretty well with it. I started off with like 200 bucks. And then I ended up scaling that to like 600 or 700, which was pretty sweet for me at the time because it was a broke boy. So it seemed like a lot of money to me. And around this time was like around the NFT hype. And I ended up buying into this one project. I bought a picture for $400. At the time, this seemed like a smart idea, but now saying it out loud, as well as when I was writing this down, saying that I paid 400 bucks for a picture, I sound like an idiot. Next, I started reading. I picked up my first ever book outside of school, and it was called Millionaire Teacher. Actually, I have the book right here. The main topics of this book was essentially thinking very, very long term, as well as being just smarter with your money. So this was the first book that I ever read outside of school again. And yeah, it's a pretty sweet book. I love it. And then around this time too, I fell into my heavy Andrew Tate phase. And all I was seeing was this super sweet lifestyle. And I don't know why this came through my head, but the next thing that I started thinking was, what do I not want? So ask yourself this, what do you not want? An ugly girlfriend, no money in the bank, working under someone solely for the reason of you need to make money. Things like these. And it's okay if you're working for someone else, as long as the goal isn't just to work there for money. As long as you're trying to go up in your career, become better, that's the main thing that you should work for. So write down either on paper or on a notes tab on your phone or laptop or wherever. Just write down the first few things that come to mind when you ask yourself, what do I not want? So it's a 10-second task, just write these things down. Another good way to do it is look at, again, the people around you and ask yourself, what are they doing? The ones who aren't going anywhere close to where you want to be in the future, and ask yourself, what are they doing? So those are some things that you also don't want to do, and see where their lives are at. And from this, you'll get a bit of an idea for a plan to take. So my first step of action was to start working somewhere and start making some money, as well as learning something. And the first job that I landed was in sales, which if you're starting out, that's a really good place to start learning sales. And from this job, it also helped me get around much better people, because that's another big thing, the people that you're around. So if you don't have a good job with good people around you, still try and get around better people. And I know while you're younger, it's a lot harder to do it. So the next thing I tell you to do is try and find some online communities, or try and make some friends online who are doing better things. The one that I'm gonna recommend is our community. It's the first link in the description, where you also get to chat with me as well as everyone else. And when you're around the better people, just ask them for help, because one thing is, people who are above you, like, they'll literally help you out, which is kind of like the opposite of what I originally thought. Like, you don't think that these high up people want to help younger people or people below them, but that's not true. As long as you're not like an annoying leech or just some bum, they're gonna help you out. Like my mentor, I credit all of my business success to him. And I actually met him at the sales job because he was the owner of the office. So he was much higher up than I was at the time. So yeah, he ended up helping me out, and he's a huge part of the reason of why I have any money or why my business did so well. So do get around better people and ask them for help when you do get around them, because the thing is, they are going to help you. And really quick, if you've been enjoying the video, if you could please subscribe, that would literally mean so much to me. Right now, the goal is 1,000 before summer. So if you could help out with that, it would mean so much. Thank you. And then next, I kept going up. So the sales job was for the summer. And after the summer came to an end, I had to quit because of school, which sucked. But then I fell into a season of learning, and not learning like math, English, science, whatever, like that garbage. But I started self-educating on business, speaking, and things that I know are going to help me, especially further down the line. And at this point, I started reading a book every 2 to 3 weeks, as well as watching a bunch of educational videos, sort of like this one. And I advocate for this so much. You need to learn as much as you can, because the difference between the bums and the greats is what they know. And this learning season went on for like 5-6 months before I figured out what I wanted to do next. And what you do next differs for everyone. For me, I started a business. For you, you may get another job. You may keep learning. You may work under someone else as kind of like a mentee or shadowing them. But if you don't know what you want to do next, I made another video about this. I'll put it in the description. It's essentially how to find what you should do based on what you have. But after the season of learning, I fell into a season of action. And if you're also in school, this is what I recommend you do. During the school months, learn as much as you can about why other people started their businesses, how they started it, the mindset shifts that they had during the business, what their big ideas were in the business, etc. And while you're doing this thing, eventually you're gonna get some ideas, and then after a few months, you're going to be able to implement these into the weekends. So you're going to be building on the weekends. And then after the school months or summer, that's when you go balls to the wall, all you do is work. And I've done this for 2 cycles now, going on to my 3rd action cycle, and it's what's worked for me. And the second big thing throughout this entire thing, and you'll develop this during your learning phase too, or just as you're going on, you'll develop this too, but consciously think about why you do things. The why is essentially the differentiator between the greats and the bums, or the Jeff Bezos and, I don't know, some loser down here. And I came up with this pretty advanced system. I call it the PP system. And what it means and what it stands for is that you need to think more in terms of purpose over pleasure. And before you do anything, just ask yourself, am I doing this for pleasure, as in to feel good, or am I doing this for more purpose, as in to better my future self and just set myself up? And you'll notice that the people you're around that you don't want to be like, they don't care about purpose. They're doing everything only for pleasure. All they care about is just feeling good. So you don't want to be like that. And if you don't want to be like that, you need to be more purpose driven. And your purpose is essentially your work and what you're building up for, like learning and what's going to make you the best you in the future time that's coming. So if you really want to get ahead of everyone else your age, first you need to find out what you don't want. And that's most likely going to be based around the people around you that you don't want to turn out like. Then get a first step for the plan. You don't even need a full-fledged plan, you just need a first step. That's all you need. Get around better people, whether that's online or in person, and then fall into the learn and action cycle that we were going over too, if you're in school and if you can. And lastly, use the PP system to your advantage. And this is essentially how I went about it. And hopefully it also helps you get towards your goals too. And I really appreciate you for making it to the end of the video, by the way. I know I say this every time, but seriously, I do appreciate you. And if you want to be around more like-minded people, you can join the Discord server in the description, where you can essentially talk about money, goals, etc., and what you want to do. And also, if you could subscribe to the newsletter, it's essentially week-to-week writes about these kind of things. And if you can also check out issafard.com, there's a bunch of free courses on there that also help out with going about making the money and the plans for this. All those things are in the description. You can go ahead and check them out if you want. And with everything being said, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.